So for my first project, I'm going to take this bottle that I got at Hobby Lobby on clearance. I want it to look like an authentic milk bottle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this flat acrylic white paint that I got at Walmart. It's apple barrel. And I'm going to squirt some in this jar. And my hope is to make it look like there is real milk in this jar. That's the reason I didn't paint the outside. I want it to look like that. I don't want it all the way down where my fingers are twirling. It doesn't have a lid, so I don't want it. I want some of the glass showing. Didn't have enough paint, so I'm going to put a little bit more in there. And if you have too much and you don't use it all, that's okay. It'll just run back down in the bottom of your bottle, and it'll dry eventually. I know that mine was already done, so I checked it this morning and it was still wet, but I'm just twirling it down there, until I get a mess, I guess. And I'm just cleaning that with my fingers because they were handy. No, I got a baby wipe and I wiped it all off. Anyways, my humor is sometimes, I don't know. But I'm almost there. Oh, I'm there. Boy, that was fast, wasn't it? Okay. Now, my writing stinks. So I have a decal that I cut out on my silhouette. And I'm just going to put that on there. Can't find my transfer tape. I'm wiggling my fingers. So I did find my used transfer tape. And it's okay as long as it's still tacky. It works. So I cut a piece off. And I'm going to stick it down. And use my silhouette scraper. And burnish it down a little bit. And this is duck transfer tape. Well, I mean, it ain't transfer tape. It's contact paper. But it's the best transfer tape, y'all. Seriously. You get it at Walmart. If your vinyl don't stick, you just push it down and try to peel back again. Easy peasy. Fresh milk. Okay, my next jug, I got this little jar at Dollar Tree last year. And I'm going to paint the outside of this one. And I'm just rubbing alcohol on the outside of that. I'm going to paint it with Waverly white chalk paint that I usually get at Walmart. I'm going to go down, try to make, just even strokes down the side of the jar. And this jar took 2 coats, and I used a heat gun to dry them in between my coats. If you use a heat gun, don't hold it too close and be careful because it was plastic and it will melt and have dents. Now that I'm all dry, I'm going to take these transfers, rub-on transfers that I got from the Dollar Tree, and they're very close together. So the best thing is those little scissors down there that I have, and they're to cut your fingernails with. And they're really thin scissors, so it's easier to use those, plus they're curved to go around your designs. So I take my tweezers and I cut out the M, the I, the L, and the K. What are we spelling? Milk! Just kidding. So anyways, I put the M down and I'm burnish it down with the little pink tool because I love that thing from the Dollar Tree. You push it down until you see it turn a lighter color, and then it's ready. You take the other end of the tool and slide it under there and then pop it right off. That is one of my favorite tools from the Dollar Tree, y'all. I use it to pierce and score paper. I use it to weed vinyl, as long as it's sticky vinyl. I use it to weed that. I use it for this purpose right here. I mean, it's a wonderful tool to have in your craft room. Came out great. Here goes the next one. So I'm just taking my tweezers, because if you touch it, it will stick to your finger and then ruin the transfer. So I'm just going to stick that down and then do everything all over again. Except this time it looks like I used tweezers. whatever works, I guess. Some people use popsicle sticks, but I can't. I just can't do it with a popsicle stick sometimes. I don't know why. There's my I. Here goes my L. I dropped it. Well, thing got away from me. Thank God it didn't stick to my mat. Woo, I'm going faster. No. Speed it up so that we can get through this. I might should have went a little faster. I wish I worked that fast, y'all. Seriously. That would be nice. Y'all see that? My letters are getting bigger as I go. Those letters on that sheet are in different sizes. So my milk gets, look, from the M to the K, it just grows. But maybe there's my nose. I always got my nose stuck in something. But anyway, that was my last one. It all went down great. And even if it didn't, then, you know, because I want it to look like I was walking through the woods and found it. So with that being said, I'm fixing to dirty it up with my Waverly wax. I got my wax, and I'm not going to apply this on this with a brush. I am going to use a makeup wedge that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just trying to get some of that, you know, mashed into the thing. Okay, y'all, seriously, me doing this lid done no good because that thing just kept smearing it right back off when I tried to put it on. So there's hope for that later. Just hang on. So I'm rubbing it down the jar. Like I said, I want this to really be dirty like I found it somewhere, and it's an old milk bottle. I love doing this technique when I want it to look more grungy as opposed to just old and worn. I want it to look more grungy. So I'm just rubbing and getting it dirty. Okay, so now I have a baby wipe and I'm just rubbing it down, trying to smooth it out, and I like it. It looks good to me. So, and if y'all hear some noise, my husband's home from work and he's out there airing up his tires with his loud compressor, and he's fixing to mow the backyard. So I want these on my tray, and I want them to look dirty, and I got them from Hobby Lobby on the clearance. They were in the garden flowers and things like that. So I'm taking the stakes off. And that one, I mean, it's not going to hurt nobody, but knowing me, I pushed it down because I would get hurt because that's just how I am. But anyways. So I'm going to probably save those things because I'm a crafter. I save everything. I'm just going to take my Waverly wax, and this time I am going to use a brush because it will go on better with a brush. And I'm going to brush it on and make these just look kind of like they've been sitting out in the rain and they're rusty. And then I would be happy with them. I actually put this in my wagon. I left my little bunny in there, took all the carrots out, and I left the flower vase, and I just put this in my little wagon. That's what it looks like. I like that. Didn't know where to put it, but I liked it. I figured that, you know, this is why I said just wait for it, because actually it did the milk jug lid. And this thing really looked rusted. This video, the pictures don't do it justice. It is really, really pretty. And it looks like I found it somewhere. And I loved it. So, glad I was able to fix that. So, then I'm going to go on and grunge up the rest of these, make them look more rusty. And, you know, I put my Waverly paint on, or the Waverly wax, really thick. And if I need to, you know, that turned it like brown. So, I'll wipe it off. But I I put it on thick so it spreads out throughout the thing. I'm wiping it off with a baby wipe. And just to put more on it. Sometimes I make no sense. No, I wiped off the heavy parts and then I'm putting a little bit back on there. But my hands were disgusting. I mean, seriously, y'all. But that's what that one looks like. And the top was a little scratched up, so it really set in that one. I forgot the inside. So I had to redo that because I forgot, that I can actually see in there. So then I take this one and I am pushing pretty hard because I want it to really stick on those ridges and be darker in those areas so that it would look more worn in those areas on the top and on the bottom. And I really loved these when I got them done. I thought they were really cool, and it added to what they already were, and I loved them. Then I had to make a quick trip to go wash my nasty hands. I cannot stand my hands being dirty, y'all. It's gross, but almost forgot the inside of that one too. But I got it, and it is so pretty. Well, I have this one, and it is a cross that I just found at the Dollar Tree. If I put it on my tray, you can see the back side here. So I got one of these die cut crosses out of my stash that I've been hoarding up, and I am going to glue that on the back, but I don't want that brown, so I'm going to take my Waverly White chalk paint and I'm going to give that a coat of paint, trying not to get it on any of the silver. But on the back I do paint the silver because it's got a piece that is screwed down because it's bent. So I just took the paint and painted over that and got it out of the way. There you can hopefully see what it says. It's the same color, so I'm not going to paint it or anything. I'm just going to stick it down. So this cross says, "Seek courage and strength through him." And I thought that was really pretty, and I wanted it on my table. So I'm just taking the original super glue. I get this from the Dollar Tree. It's the gel. I like the gel. I don't seem to make as big a mess and stick myself to stuff when I use the gel as opposed to the just liquid stuff. There's my husband's lawnmower. God help us all. Anyway, I just add that, and I'm going to add hot glue, but you don't want to add them on top of each other because the fumes from the super glue are terrible and they burn your nose. Trust me, I had to figure that out the hard way. But the hot glue usually peels off the metal for me, so I use super glue or an epoxy or something like that to glue metal because that works better. It has taken me a long time because that is a new glue gun. Yes, I have another to contribute to all the others. Shame on me. But the glue stick had to reach all the way to the nozzle because I just put the stick in and it was new. So it took me a minute. And it took me a minute when I was videoing just to figure out what was going on. But anyway, there it is. And I'm not distressing this or nothing. I want it just as is, believe it or not. And this is my last one. This one is so stinking cute. This is one of the owl boxes that I got at the Dollar Tree. And they have several of them. I picked the owl because it has less holes in it. See, I'm pointing out the holes because it has less holes. And I just want the top. I don't want the bottom box yet, but I'm saving it because you never know when you're going to need it. I printed these out. I made these in my Silhouette studio and then printed them. And I printed it on cardstock that I bought from Walmart. I think it's Pin Gear from Walmart. And I had to end up sanding the box because it had like little splinters and things on there, and it was driving me bonkers. So I went ahead and sanded it. And then I am going to give it, I think it only took one coat of this acrylic paint. I didn't paint it with chalk paint. I painted it with the acrylic paint. And it only took one coat. You got to make sure you paint all the sides. And you don't have to worry about the top, the front or back, because you're going to cover that with the paper. I sped things up with my heat gun. I really wish that I moved this fast sometimes, y'all. I might not be so chubby. I'd run it off. But you'd think as much coffee as I drank, I would move like this for real, but it doesn't work that way. Okay, we're all painted, so I'm going to put it on here. I was trying to figure out how to, measure it, but I couldn't see through the wood, so I couldn't see it. So I flipped it over, and I'm going to press around the edges. I'm just judging where I think that it would be, the middle. And I'm going to crease the paper real good so that I know where to take the scissors and cut it. Okay, time to get to cutting. I'm cutting it a little bigger than what it should be because there's a way that I run sandpaper along the edges and make it look like it's actually adhered to the board, and I like the look of it, so that's what I do. And again, if y'all hear my husband on the lawnmower, I apologize. He works a lot, so he has to get it done when he can. Well, I guess I was going to measure the inside, and I just threw my paper away. I don't know what I'm doing at this point. What am I doing? Oh, I'm getting a ruler. Okay, I'm actually going to measure this one, which is kind of smart. I have to go from the inside to the inside. And if my memory is correct, it was a little bit below the 4. So I had to cut that one out, and that one does have to be right. I do give it a little leeway in case that I'd rather have it be too big than too small, because if it was too small, then I'd have to start all over again, and nobody wants to start all over again. So I'm just measuring this out. So I cut it out, and I'm gonna see if it fits. Well, it fit. Come here, little buddy. All right. Now I am going to take this stick glue. I love this glue. I can't find it anymore, but this has been the best glue by far that I have ever had, a stick glue. And I'm just going to rub it on the back real good. And then I'm going to press it down in there. You got to make sure you push down real good, but don't wrinkle your paper. I got glue on my hands. And then I use my squeegee and I'm rubbing firmly but gently, if that makes any sense, to try to squish the glue, the excess glue out. And as far as I know, I didn't have any, whole lot of excess glue globs on the bottom. Okay, they say that 5 times fast. But anyways, I did have excess glue on the top, and I had to wipe that off. But I'm just putting this glue on this one, and I'm gonna stick it down as well. And like I said, this is good glue. It dries permanent, and I have never had any problems with it. I had that all over my hands. Now I'm squeegeeing excess glue out. Make sure it's not on there, because if it gets on your paper, that makes a mess. I'm making sure there's not glue everywhere. And then I am going to wait for that to dry. I had glue everywhere. That stuff is so sticky and slimy and messy. But anyways, that's what the inside looks like. I think these are so funny and so cute. So I got these little things at Hobby Lobby. They're Tim Holtz, and I got them on the 50% off sale. When Tim Holtz goes on sale, 50% off. I think it's every other week that it does that. And they are so stinking cute, ain't they? So I'm gonna put the fork and the spoon in this one on this side. I'm just gonna lay the fork down. I'm putting super glue on the parts that are gonna touch, or that I think are gonna touch. I don't use hot glue in any of this to put these down. Make sure you just push it in or put it in and leave it. It has to have dry time. If you mess with super glue, then you mess it up. And then I'm going to add some to the bottom of the spoon where it's going to be touching, and then on the end, right around the rim of the spoon handle. And you have to make sure you don't get this on your hands either, because you'll be glued to your spoon and your fork, and that would be bad. But those are in there. It only takes like a few seconds to set. So I just got to leave that alone for a minute, and that's hard for me because I'm impatient. Whew, I can't wait for nothing, it seems like. Anyway, those are dry, and now I'm going to take this big sanding block that I bought at the Dollar Tree. It is really rough and coarse, so that's what I like to use, and I just go in a downward motion and sand all around the sides until the paper is cut off. That's the way I cut my paper off, because to me it looks better that way, and I like the look of it, so that's why I do it. You can take it, if you don't have sandpaper, and flip it upside down and use an X-Acto knife and go around it, or you can use a pair of sharp scissors to go around there and cut your paper off. And this is just the way I like to do it. Had a piece of paper come up on the corner, so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on my finger, and then I'm going to peel the paper up a little, rub that glue on that paper, and stick it right back down. Easy peasy. Now I'm going to take my knife, cute little thing, and this one is a little bit harder. There is a ridge on the underside of these little silverware things, and that's where I attach my glue. That way I know that it comes in contact with what I'm gluing it to. So that doesn't take long, and it is stuck for good. Now I'm going to come in with my Waverly wax, and I'm going to get my chip brush, and I'm just going to dry brush along this a little bit to give it some distressing and make it look a little more aged and vintage. If you do not like distressing, don't do it. To each his own, you know. Not everybody likes this technique. So if it's not your thing, then you do you, baby. Whatever it is that you like, that's what you can do. I'm only here for inspiration. I distress almost everything except that cross. I was shocked I didn't distress that, but I just wanted it as is. But I'm just going around the edges and mainly in the creases and along the, the joints where the box comes together. I'm kind of darkening that in a little bit, and on the inside, I don't forget that one because it is two-sided, so I get that one too. And I'm all done. I love these little things. I think that it is so cute. Just want to say thank you for watching, and I appreciate you being here, each and every one of you. It means a lot to me. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. It helps me to grow my channel. Let me know which one was your favorite in the comments. And I will catch you next time. God bless.